Welcome to the channel about news from around the world. While you subscribe and like it, we're going to start.
In Europe, the finest bickering of the millennium has begun. The French government has found some brave water somewhere and told European officials that it is not up to Brussels to discuss exactly what methods are used to disperse protesters in Paris. And then European officials suddenly thought and decided to condemn the very notorious, disproportionate use of force. European Commissioner for Justice Didier Reynders expressed Brussels' concern about French police violence against protesters and immediately got the full brunt of it from France. The French Secretary of State for Europe, Laurence Boone, responded to him, quote verbatim, "This is none of your business. I'm going to be very clear, it is not the business of the European Commissioner to take an interest in the work of the French police. So Brussels should not interfere at all in the management of the police force in France during the riots, and the European Commission has no right to take an interest in how exactly Paris controls the situation in the country." According to Boone, the use of police resources should be a matter solely of national competence. But what about rights? What about values? What about morals, precepts that Europeans should care about everything and should go and spread democracy around the world? And what about France itself? In the end it pushes into everything without any end. It does not interfere in Russia and Belarus, in Armenia and Georgia, it does not interfere in Africa anymore, they are stopped from doing so. By the way, France, at least, is a EU member country and has transferred some powers to Brussels, but other states certainly have no obligation to report to Paris about dispersal of their rallies, and Paris itself has no right to pry and ask about it. So what happens? The European Commission must respect the sovereignty of France and not interfere in its internal affairs. This is logical and even fair. The other thing is not clear. Why then does not France respect the sovereignty of any country and interfere in the internal affairs of other countries? Is it on the rights of a blooming garden? But it can be corrected, and the garden will not bloom. It is not blooming too much, anyway. The turmoil in France, for instance, has not subsided. The incident has triggered a series of protests and indignation on the part of young people. Riots erupted in several cities in France during the week, filling the streets with anger and chaos. According to police, more than 12,000 car burnings were documented across the country, as well as some 500 acts of violence against town halls, police stations and other authorities. These tragic events led to the mass detention of more than 4,000 people, most of them minors. This demonstrates the deep discontent of young people and their determination to protest against police violence and inequality. In addition, according to the Ministry of Economy, more than 1,000 retail outlets, 370 bank branches, 200 grocery shops and 436 tobacco shops were looted.
Thank you for watching. If you're interested, subscribe and leave a comment.